Alright, guys, let's talk about Suicide Squad, which came out after Batman v Superman and is the third film in the DCEU. This one, wow, if they had. This was their third run into the DCEU where a lot of people hated Man of Steel. There are people who love it, but a lot of people hated it. A lot of people hated Batman v Superman. And then we got Suicide Squad, which is the garbage equivalent of the DCEU, but it is so fun. It is such fun garbage. This movie is so trashy, so dumb, so bad in how it's edited and how it's written. It has got so many terrible things about it, but honestly, I enjoy this movie. I think it's so fun. Um, this movie made a lot more money than people expected because I think of the name recognition. Like, it had the Joker in it, it had Harley Quinn in it, and all these other characters. And also, they did this thing where, since Guardians of the Galaxy was so big, they put all these theme songs with these characters, like how Guardians of the Galaxy had all the '60s, '70s music. This one did that, but for villains. So it was a ripoff. But I honestly still enjoy this one. This one is another incredibly stylish movie, with an incredibly memorable color palette and soundtrack. Like, this one, again, it's a trashy movie, but it is so fun with the soundtrack, with the visuals, with the characters. Honestly, but a lot of it is so stupid because it is a very haphazardly done movie. There's a lot of story threads and characters that are just that are in the movie then just gone out of nowhere. Like the Ike Barinholtz character from the beginning of the movie, like his last scene is where he's talking to Harley Quinn and she's like, "He'll take care of you," like about the Joker. And he's like, "What do you mean by that, Harley? What do you mean by that?" And then she laughs. And then that's the last scene in the movie of him. He doesn't even get a full story arc or a plot thread that's just gone. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And there's a lot of shit like this in this movie where it just is so trashy. And it's done by David Ayer, who I think I've only seen this and Bright, unless he did Sabotage too, which all three of these movies are that I've seen of his are really trashy. Like, they're really dumb and just very trashy. Sabotage was that movie with like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was like this action movie where it was a gritty like movie and it was really trashy. And then we had this one, which is really trashy, and then we had Bright, which was just a dumb movie about like orcs and like wizards and like all this magical stuff in normal LA. Like, and Will Smith and Joel Edgerton and Orc team up together. It's really dumb. So what I'm saying is that David Ayer's movies that I have seen him do are really dumb. And I don't want to diss the guy, but I think his movies I've seen are really stupid. But I still think this is stupid fun. This is a really fun one. I keep saying that. I do like these characters, despite a lot of them not having much to them at all. Deadshot, played by Will Smith, I think has a simple and effective story, and he and Harley Quinn are the ones that have the story arcs. Because Deadshot has the story arc with his daughter, who there's a great scene at the beginning of the movie where he encounters Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman, and like Deadshot's gonna shoot him, and then his daughter stands in the way, and she knows that he's a hitman, and she starts crying and says, "Stop, Daddy, please stop." And then Batman leaves, and then the authorities come, and then Deadshot's taken away from his daughter, but also he's a fuck up. He's this literal assassin who gains money, and his daughter knows about it, and now he's in prison, and now he has lost everything because he was what he was, an assassin. So I really do like that story arc with Will Smith, even though it's very simple. It's a simple story arc, but I do like it. It actually has a little bit of emotion to it. And now let's talk about Harley Quinn. Margot Robbie. She is really, honestly, great in this movie. Like, she's incredible in this movie. She gives off, from what I remember from watching the TV show as a kid, like the animated series where she was introduced, this like she encapsulates that almost perfectly. She has an incredible personality, and it feels like it's straight out of the animated series, and her performance feels so real. And by real, I mean like she feels like this demented, insane killer person, but like I really love her in this movie. She truly is the best part of the movie, and they marketed that way. They tried to do that because they knew too, like she really encapsulated this character, and she really works very well. And there's a scene between her and the Joker that honestly gives me chills. Like I didn't expect this movie to do any of that, but that scene where Harley Quinn and Joker like there's a vat of toxic acid, and like she's up top by it, and he's with her, and he says, "Do you love me?" And she says, "Yeah." And then he says, "Will you die for me?" And she says, "Yeah." And then she does it to where she falls into the vat of acid, and then Joker turns around and is about to walk away, but then he realizes he has a connection with her, and he loves her, so then he jumps in the vat of acid while this song is a trashy song, but "I Need a Gangster" is playing by Kalani. But it's an incredible moment. It gives me chills because it shows them both in the vat of acid. It doesn't look like acid, of toxic whatever, and all the colors around them are swirling while they're embracing. Like that actually is a really great moment. I love that. Visually, it's just incredible, and the song is really cool in that moment. So there are moments with Harley Quinn, even though again, like most of these characters are not well written at all. That moment got me. That was a really cool moment. It just gave me chills, honestly. And let's talk about the Joker. Jared Leto as the Joker. Whew. This one, I don't hate this one, honestly. I really don't hate him. A lot of people hate this performance. It's because he's a gangster Joker. He's not trying to be like Jack Nicholson or Heath Ledger Joker. Like, he's not those characters. Like he's not that interpretation, and I give them props for being different and unique. Like this is a gangster Joker. Again, if it works with the trashiness of the movie. Well, I don't know about works, but it is trashy. It is a very trashy thing. Like everything in this movie is just trash. Like trash in the best way. And by trashy I mean like it's just badly written, badly edited. Like there's nothing to it that's great, but it's just so entertaining. Like it's fun garbage. And it just he's honestly an interesting interpretation, and I actually don't mind the Joker in this movie, Jared Leto. I think he's actually kind of cool, weirdly enough. And the other characters are basically just there. Like the main characters, even though it's called Suicide Squad, the main characters are Deadshot, Harley, and the Joker. And the Joker's not in it as much as the other two, but he's one of the most important. And the other characters are just there. Like, there's not much to them. Captain Boomerang, Jai Courtney, like, he's just there. He talks Australian, and there's not much to him. He's got, like, a pink unicorn named Pinky that he loves. That's his story. And then, like, El Diablo and Killer Croc. Well, El Diablo has that thing with his family where, like, he killed his family in an accident because, like, he emits fire. And then you've got Killer Croc, who is awful. Hate Killer Croc. Like, he's horrible. He's horrible just like Lex Luthor is. But this one, like, he's bad. And I'll explain why soon. And the villain. Let's talk about the villain. Cara Delevingne plays Enchantress. She's really forgettable. And she's got these really weird, bad CGI effects on her. Where at the end of the movie, she's like bobbing her head around while her body's like flying around, like flopping, and like her head's just like you could tell it's not like they just put her head there and CG'd the whole body doing that body flop, like that weird jelly belly dance. Like it's so weird. But also I do want to mention Amanda Waller though, who is the person who sets this in motion and sets up the Suicide Squad, in which she wants to have villains fight other villains and then throw them under the bus because she's a really shitty person. And apparently she's like that in the comics too. But Viola Davis is a great choice for this, and again, despite the writing for this movie, she actually sells it. Like, she's a badass. I really do love her in this movie. She is great, like Margot Robbie is. Like, she really sells it as this badass, like, horrible character, but I really do love her performance, and Viola Davis is one of those actresses that can make anything great. No matter how silly the dialogue is, she gives the performance with dignity. She doesn't care. She just gives dignity to this performance. Really, really like her a lot in this movie. There's also, here's some of my negatives. There's some really, really stupid jokes in this movie that are so bad. There's a scene where Ike Barinholtz at the beginning of the movie is being held by gunpoint with Deadshot, and he says, "Well, if I die, someone delete my browser history." And it's one of those dumb jokes that, like, you've heard so many times. Somebody delete my browser history. Like, it doesn't work in that way. Or that really, really on the nose line, which is so stupid, but I kind of enjoy because it's Will Smith saying the line. But he says, "What are we? Some kind of Suicide Squad?" And I'm just sitting there like, are you serious, Will Smith? Or writer David Ayer of Suicide Squad? Seriously? Like, you are just on the nose. Really? Like, it's ridiculous. But that was a funny line because of Will Smith saying it. Because Will Smith, even whenever he's in really stupid shit, he can make funny lines. Like, he's great. And then fucking Killer Croc. Like, I hate his lines. I think he might literally be the worst character, in my opinion, in the DCEU movies because he just is so bad. He's this crocodile who is shaped like a human in body proportion. He's just a human with makeup on, and he says randomly, like like when Amanda Waller leaves, he just says, "I like her," and that's the joke. What? And then later, where they're in the bar, and Harley Quinn says, "We all are. We're beautiful on the inside." And then she looks at Killer Croc and says, "But not you. You're ugly on the inside and outside." And then he says, "Not me, princess. I'm beautiful." It makes my head hurt just hearing those stupid ass jokes. And then there's a line where the enchantress is like, "I'm gonna give you all gifts. What do you want?" Or no, it's not the enchantress. It's after they defeat the enchantress, Amanda Waller says, like, "You can have a couple things. What do you want?" And he says, "I want BET," because he's black. It seems like. I think that's a joke. Like, oh, he's a black person. He likes BET. Like, that Killer Croc character is awful. I hate the lines that they give him. That guy barely had anything to do, like, in the movie, and it's unfortunate because I really did wish that they could have given him a better line, and this guy would have been better in the movie. So yeah, it's so stupid, and the action is just it's not Zack Snyder doing this one, it's David Ayer, so the action is just, it's like other David Ayer movies. It's trashy, like shaky cam, or like they're running through the darkness in the cities fighting these little putty things, like these creatures that the enchantress are she's just turning humans into like creatures where they got like this faceless like thing, and like they're killing them all. There's nothing to the action. It feels like a third-person shooter in a video game, in a bad way. And yeah, besides that, there's nothing else really to say. This one is very fun visually, and I think the soundtrack is awesome. Like, I thought they did a great job getting music for these characters. Really love how you've got, like, with all these characters, like, for Captain Boomerang, you have the song from Creedence Clearwater Revival. I Ain't No Senator's Son. I forgot what the actual title is, but it's great. And Margot Robbie, it's like You Don't Own Me. And I really like those music choices. I think they're really cool. And I really like that scene whenever they all are getting on their clothes, like their old clothes, like, and like the Eminem song Without Me is playing. Like, I just thought that fit the style of the movie. The soundtrack I think is really fun, and I own the soundtrack. I listen to the soundtrack a lot. Like since it came out, I've listened to that soundtrack a lot. I really do like it. I think it's a really fun, entertaining soundtrack with music that works for this type of movie. Again, this trashy type of movie, but still. It was very fun visually. It had a really fun soundtrack. It had a lot of great charisma through all these characters, even though they don't have much going for them. Again, like people like Katana, who like has one line of like exposition, like, "Oh, she's this badass ninja, and she lost her husband, and that's it. There's nothing else you know about her." But again, this movie, while having a great soundtrack, having great style, trashy style, and some fun, great characters, the writing isn't good. It's very trashy with how it's edited, and it's really dumb. A lot of the plot doesn't make sense. But I don't care. I thought this was incredible, dumb fun. I really enjoy this one, and honestly, like, it's not my favorite one of them all, but I'd put this over Man of Steel and Justice League. Like, I thought this was so entertaining, and so it had way more charisma and charm. And despite it being trashy and dumb, like, it still, I don't care. I think it's a fun time to watch this really trashy movie. Like, it's just so entertaining. Really just love the style, love the characters, love the music, like it, and visuals, like it looked really cool. With the style choices that they did in the makeup, and this movie won an Oscar. Fucking this movie won an Oscar for best makeup. Like that's insane. What kind of world are we living in? So yeah, that's my thoughts on Suicide Squad from 2016. So far, we haven't got a sequel to this yet. I know we're getting like 20 sequels to this, apparently. Because I know Margot Robbie just finished that Birds of Prey, like, just finished filming that, which is a movie with her. And I don't know if it's other Suicide Squad people or other villain characters from the DC Comics, but I don't know. But I know we're getting a sequel to this sometime, but we haven't got one yet. And it's been 3 years, so I feel like we're needing one. Because I really did like this movie despite being so dumb. It was just so fun and so dumb and entertaining that I didn't care. Really enjoyed this one on a rewatch despite so many issues. So that's my thoughts on Suicide Squad. Tell me down below what you think of this movie, and thank you guys so much for watching.